is it possible, all right, for the Denver Broncos to break the single-season NFL sack record? And we said, what would it have to take? With the understanding that the Broncos' 63 sacks was already in the neighborhood of the single-season record, which is 72 sacks.
Yeah.
By the 1984 Bears, not the 85 Bears, but the year before they won it all with Mike Ditka. All right? The Broncos were within single digits of the record a year ago. So we said, well, what would it have to look like? Again, this is in April or May, June, something like that. And we're like, well, if Zach Allen can go from 8.5 sacks to 10, and we did and it was like literal, and I remember calling it little quarter turns.
Yeah, I remember this because even for Nik Bonitto, we were like, hey, he doesn't have to have 21 sacks.
No.
If he just gets, and at that time, Nik Bonitto, remember, and I know you do, but for our listeners, Nik Bonitto didn't start the year off last year starting. He missed the first two games. Now, he played, but he wasn't a starter in the first 2 games of the season. Then he turned it on. So if you add, let's just say, 2 more sacks to what Nik Bonitto had last year.
Which I think is what we did. It was like we gave him, went from 13.5 to 15.5.
Yeah. And then you had Jonathon Cooper saying that he missed a couple sacks last year. If he gets 2 more, because he had 10.5, then he would go to 12.5. You already said Zach Allen. You have John Franklin Myers that had 7 sacks last year.
Yep, we might have gave him 1 more.
Yeah,
something like that.
1 more, maybe 2, because, hey, it's John Franklin Myers. He wants to get paid. It could happen.
Well, this is nuts. The Broncos, after 6 football games, have 30 sacks.
Man.
That is 5 sacks a game, guys. The Broncos currently have, and I cannot believe this is real, but it is. The Broncos have a 10-sack lead on the team with the second most sacks. Now, this was akin to last season. Now, not exactly, but last year, the Broncos had 63 sacks. And I remember saying repeatedly through the offseason that the largest gap between any of the 32 slottings was between the Broncos and the Ravens, which was number 1 to number 2. So here we are after 6 games. It's taking what happened last year and putting it on steroids. No team should have a 10-sack lead on the entire NFL after 6 games. Somehow that's where we're at with these Denver Broncos.
I mean, it happens when you have 9 sacks in 1 game. When you're able to go to London and have 9 sacks on a quarterback. Now, of course, somebody out there saying, well, it's the Jets. Justin Fields stinks. That's their problem, not ours. And when you start to look at the schedule moving forward, we're already at 30 sacks, Zach. And we're going to play the Giants. The Giants are going to be a tough team. But the Giants are starting a rookie quarterback that's just now starting to get into a rhythm, but he doesn't know what he's getting himself into on Sunday. Then after the Giants, you got Dallas. Now, Dak's going to try to get rid of the ball, but not against this elite pass rush. Dak's going to have a hard time just sitting back there trying to pick apart this defense. Then you turn around and do Houston. They're starting to turn things around, but hey, CJ Stroud, he's a guy that will hold on to the ball because he wants that big-time play.
Correct.
So this defense is going to continue to get the sacks because, one, they're in a rhythm. They have a great scheme. It's not just one guy that you have to account for. It's not just Nik Bonitto. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. If you double-team Nik Bonitto, then you have Jonathon Cooper coming off the edge free, one-on-one on the tackle. If you double-team Jonathon Cooper, you got Nik Bonitto, Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers. And let's not forget about the nickel, McMillan. Let's not forget about Hufanga that's coming off the edge on blitzes. Like, what about Justin Sternad? Like, so the blitzes are coming, which is helping these sacks, is putting pressure on these quarterbacks, and now everybody's eating. This is a scary defense because they get along, they help each other out, and they're in a rhythm or in a groove. They have to stay healthy, and they have to continue to love each other up and help each other out, and if they can do that, they will break this sack record in the NFL.
Well, they're currently on pace to take the sack record and shoot it into the sun. That's the type of blistering pace this team is on. And this is not because they have a lot of sacks through the first 2 games of the season. This is 6 football games. Like, we're approaching the midway point of the NFL season. in the old traditional season, we'd be 2 games away from the midway point. And so it's legitimate enough of a start to talk about. And consider this. The 84 Bears have the record with 72 sacks. That's 4.5 sacks per game. The Broncos are on pace for 85 sacks.
That's crazy.
85 sacks.
Almost 100 sacks.
But someone out there in their car is saying, well, yeah, Zach, they're on pace to obliterate the record because they have 17 games now. The Broncos are on pace to break the NFL record for sacks in a single season in a 16-game schedule. By the way, if they kept up this pace in a 16-game schedule, they would still obliterate the sack record by 8 sacks. This is the type of pace that the Broncos are on. Listen to this sentence. The Denver Broncos are on pace to break the NFL single sack record if the season was 15 games.
Mic drop. We don't need 16, just 15 games.
Think about that. That is psychotic. That is otherworldly.
What do you think the defense is doing right now in that facility? You can't tell them nothing. They're literally walking around doing what they want to do, looking at the offense like,
right.
You guys better start doing something.
I mean, how insane is that?
No, it's insane. It's just it's a testament to George. It's a testament to Sean, and of course VJ, the defensive coordinator, but all these coaches and the coaching staff finding the right pieces. VJ finding the right pieces for his defense, like bringing in Zach Allen. Because we have to remember, Zach Allen was with VJ with the Arizona Cardinals. Then VJ gets here, Zach Allen. I don't know if Zach Allen was here before VJ or at the same time. I'd have to look that up. But, so for Zach Allen, he knows what VJ wants. Then you have John Franklin Myers that fits this scheme, which George went and traded for. Then you have Nik Bonitto, that was a young talent that George sought out during the draft and said, you know what, I like this kid out of Oklahoma. He's young, he's dangerous, and he's going to continue to grow. And that's exactly what Nik Bonitto is doing. Jonathon Cooper, 7th-round draft pick you talked about. You gave him the game ball last night. He's a high motor guy that's getting better every single year. And he has a mentality, a dog. You talk about a dog mentality, that man's mean. And when it's time for football, he's all in. You can't tell him anything else but football. You remember when he was walking by us?
I do. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
And maybe you could jog my memory of what exactly he said, but I'm like, hey, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, you said, congrats, man. I haven't seen you since you signed the contract. And he said, don't even know what you're talking about. Only focused on this year. It was something to that effect.
Exactly what it was. And when he said that, I'm like, wow, he's locked in. He's all in for his team right now. He wants to get better. It's not about last year. It's about the now. And now look what this defense is doing. You added a couple pieces with Hufanga. Imagine when Dre Greenlaw comes back, if he comes back here soon. He's going to add another element of just physicality, another vocal leader. Now he's going to have to kind of get going again and get back in shape, so hopefully things go well with him. And then you got on the outsides Riley Moss, who's getting better every single week. He needs to continue to grow. And then you have Defensive Player of the Year in PS2. So this defense is stacked. They have to stay healthy. They have to continue to love each other up. I say that word, love each other up, because it takes a village in order to do well on defense or offense. And they're doing that. They're helping each other out. They're stunting. They're stunting for each other and picking for each other so that people are getting free. And that's how they're getting these sacks.
Well, credit to Vance Joseph. I mean, really. And I know that he's got, and we talked about this in the preseason. I think when we did the segment, could they break the single-season sack record? He has got most everything that you could want as a defensive coordinator. Now, it's not perfect because we know in the middle of the defense there's some
inside linebacker position.
It's questionable.
It is.
It's questionable.
A little hole there.
But it's not going to be perfect for any defensive coordinator. But you look at who he has from the safeties. You look at who he has from the corners. You look at who he has up front from the front seven. I mean, it's insane. This is how you would hope a defensive coordinator would produce if you had the weapons that VJ has, and he's answering the bell. So just, I mean, I don't know, man. The fact that, and I'm still trying to process this in real time, that the Broncos are on such a pace that they could break the single-season sack record at this pace without needing a 16th or a 17th game.
Now, is this right here, does the Denver Broncos have to break that record in order for VJ to get a head coaching job after this year?
No, I don't think so. What do you think?
No, I think VJ, his resume is speaking for itself. Last year, what they did with 63 sacks, what they're doing already with 30 sacks, like this man needs another opportunity to be a head coach. Give him another chance to pick his staff. When I was on his team and he was the head coach, he had no control. No control.
I remember.
He didn't have the last say, the final say.
It was hard to watch, honestly, for me, as an outsider. It was hard to watch at certain instances that were public.
But he would be honest. He would be honest with us about certain things that are going on in the build, in the sense of, hey, guys, my hands are tied. You're talking about a head coach that's trying to win games, coming to the team saying, some of these things that are happening, my hands are tied.
Yeah.
Picking his staff, who he wants to help out, he didn't get that decision. So now this next round, this next time that he gets the opportunity to be a head coach, he's going to be able to handpick his guys that can help him out. And you're only as good as the coaches around you. So, yes, Zach, I do believe that VJ will have another opportunity to be a head coach, and he'll do a great job because now he has the reps. He got to see firsthand with Sean Payton. He's learning from Sean as well. You're always learning. And he's going to be able to take everything he's learning and has learned throughout his experiences and be a better coach because of that.
Oftentimes, and we've seen this throughout the history of the National Football League, the success comes on your second stop. And so Sean Payton, that's a dream scenario where your first head coaching job, you stay there for 16 years. Yeah. That's very unusual. Same thing for John Harbaugh. Very similar setup. You get your first job, but oftentimes it's the Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll route where it's I learn a ton in my first stop, and now it's time for me to apply all those lessons. And I remember Vance Joseph, when he was doing a great job with the Cardinals, he was a part of a piece that I think The Athletic did, and it was talking to coordinators who used to be head coaches and what they would do differently. And the one thing that Vance Joseph said, and I'm dating myself because this is probably 3 or 4 years ago, but the one thing that he said was, I would never go into a situation, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, I would never go into a situation again where I have no control over the things around me.
Yes.
And you guys know the stories, but I'll say it anyway. When I watched Vance Joseph, and I was standing right next to him, it was my first year in Denver, and he was told that they had traded TJ Ward. And Vance's comment was, I would hope that's not the case. We're not in the business of trading away some of our best players. And it was just wow, you guys really put him in a situation where he doesn't know that one of his defensive players, and he's a defensive guy, has been moved. When DT asks him, and obviously I wasn't standing here for this one the way I was the last one, but when Demaryius Thomas asks him, hey, am I going to get traded? I'm here. I'm going to get. No, you're not. We wouldn't do that.
Oh, I remember it I remember it like it was yesterday because I was in the building, and you should have seen VJ's face and how hurt he was when Demaryius Thomas had to walk back in on a day off. We got done lifting. Everybody's going home. Everybody's heading out the door. Demaryius already left. 30 minutes later, he's walking back into the building. And Demaryius, you can see it in his face where it's something isn't right. Now, I'm young.
Yeah,
I'm young.
Right,
this is my first time really experiencing everything that's going on. And I remember Demaryius sitting there walking past me saying, hey, man, I just want to say you're a hell of a player. You're young. Keep it up. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, man, I'm being traded.
Crazy. I'm
being traded. He walks by. He says, I got to go talk to VJ. I got to go talk to VJ and, clear some things what went on. VJ was hurt that Demaryius was gone. And my guessing was because he wasn't in on it. He wasn't told that this was what was getting ready to happen. We ended up trading Demaryius to the Houston Texans and playing him that next week.
Which is insane, the irony of it.
Crazy.
Mike Kliss was on our morning show, and he was asked about Vance Joseph and will he get head coaching a head coaching opportunity, this is what Kliss said.
You know, he did have only one interview last year. I think it was with the Jets that went to Aaron Glenn. Vance, you got to have an experience. Aaron Glenn didn't know what he was doing on game management at the end of the half, and he just kind of froze and did nothing. Vance has already made game management mistakes, and he's learned from them. Plus, as a defensive coordinator, yeah, he's got it going. He'll interview for head coaching jobs, that's for sure.
He'll interview for head coaching jobs, that's for sure. And the best case scenario for the Denver Broncos, and it's weird to say like this, the best case scenario for the Denver Broncos is that Vance